Joining us now is Dan Symons, CEO of C3 Metals, a company with projects across Peru and Jamaica. But for this conversation, we'll focus on your project called Khaleesi. When we last talked to Dan, it was August, so just last month, and you shared what you believe is behind your stock's movement. Can you kind of quickly recap for us why you've got that stock movement before we jump into the project?
Sure. We've done a lot of de-risking across our asset portfolio. So for instance, in Jamaica, we had identified an 18-kilometer strike extent with 14 porphyry prospects. We had drill tested 4 of those over 22 and 23. And we realized we wanted a major company partner to come in because it's very capital intensive to drill up one porphyry, let alone 14 of them across an 18-kilometer stretch. So by bringing in Freeport, who's the largest copper producer in the world, as a partner, that really put a lot of eyeballs on us. And that allowed us to start talking about our whole broader portfolio with the market. And we've done a lot of de-risking with our Peru asset at Khaleesi through gaining social license with the community, drill permits that can take quite a long time in Peru. And now we're ready to get going and have 3 drill programs going all at the same time here by the end of this month.
Well, Khaleesi, it's a 6,000 meter drill program that's planned. It's 14 holes. For our audience, can you also break down the timeline for us? How long they'll take, but also when should investors expect to see first results?
Sure. So first results, we would think we're planning to start the program here by the end of September. We're actually made the decision just very recently, so this is new. We're going to hit it with 2 drill rigs instead of bringing in 1. So we have a skarn zone and a porphyry zone, very common for porphyry fluid to feed into a limestone, create a skarn. So instead of having to mobilize a rig back and forth across these 2 zones, we're going to put 1 rig on the skarn, 1 on the porphyry, 7 holes on each, about equal drill meters on each. So the first rig's going to be coming in just in 2 weeks to the project. We should get that drilling by the end of September, and then by mid-October we should have the second rig going as well. So by mid-October we have both rigs going, and that would put us on track for late November for first assays coming from the project.
Now, assuming that having 2 rigs versus the 1 accelerates things overall too.
Yeah, that does. So we would expect to be able to wrap up the program towards the end of this year, maybe by mid-January at the latest, is what we expect. So in terms of all results from the program, first results late November, we should have all results by the end of Q1 in March next year. So in this industry, we want to have success fast or fail fast to be able to know if you want to keep investing in an asset or step away from it.
Well, this is going to be Khaleesi's first ever drill program, what's called Maiden drilling, and you're targeting what you describe as coincident geochemical and geophysical anomalies. In plain English, what does that mean, and why are these the right targets to drill?
Yeah, that's a great question. Geochemistry is just when we look at where there is outcropping rock, what minerals are in that rock, and then when there's not outcropping rock, we collect soil samples very systematically. And the soil samples that we collected, and also where there is outcropping rock at Khaleesi, we're getting a couple percent copper, up to a couple percent copper in rock chip samples. But in the soil geochemistry samples, we're seeing up to 1260 ppm over broad areas, 950 ppm over broad areas, parts per million. And we get excited in our industry about 300 ppm, so it's triple and quadruple what gets us excited. And then right below that, we run geophysical surveys, and that allows us to see subsurface below the ground. So and right below those 2 big geochemical anomalies where we have such high grade in soils, we're seeing magnetic highs and IP chargeability highs. Magnetic's picking up the magnetite associated with these, and IP chargeability is picking up the sulfide minerals associated with these. These are really big anomalies. There's 2 sitting side by side. They're both over 1 kilometer in scale, in diameter. So it's a really big target in the right area, surrounded by major producing mines that are all very, very large deposits.
And you said earlier that you expect results to kind of roll in November. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, what does successful drilling at Khaleesi unlock for C3?
If we have successful drilling at Khaleesi, we're basically going to be testing the first 500 meters of the system. And if we're seeing ore grades in that first 500 meters, I would imagine our valuation is going to move very, very quickly, much higher. And then we would look to hit it very hard next year with a 20 to 25,000 meter program in 2026. And that would put us in line by the end of next year for coming out with an inferred resource. So it would be widely spaced, but we'd be able to put a resource on it by the end of next year. First things first, though, we got to get the first 6,000 meters done, see what we're getting, and then to justify that investment for 2026.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up with, what's next after drilling, but you just said it, more drilling.
More drilling, yeah. So we're highly confident we're going to hit copper mineralization because where it is outcropping rock, we see copper mineralization. We see it in the soils. The geophysics surveys look really, really good. What we don't know, so the scale of the project in terms of tonnage, high confidence in that. What we don't know is what is the grade. And the only way to determine grade is to drill holes to see if you have economic widths at economic grades. So it's really exciting to start the first program on what was a brand new discovery. This is actually discovered when a new road was cut in and our VP exploration was driving down, and he saw some of the rocks along the side of this road with copper in them. And we started staking and consolidating from local prospectors around this area. So we've been wanting to get in and drill here for about 2 years, and now we're finally here about to do it.
Well, here we are at Beaver Creek. You're actually with your VP of exploration. What sorts of, reception, conversations are you having with investors on site?
Yeah, investors are really happy. Obviously, the stock's performed extremely well this year, but I think we're really just getting going because, basically the market's been rewarding us for all that de-risking we've been doing with drill permits, social license, bringing in Freeport as a partner in Jamaica. And now we're getting to the point where we have 2 drill rigs starting in Jamaica. We're about to get 2 drilling in Peru. So we're gonna be able this year to pump about 10,000 to 11,000 meters this year. And then, based on success, if we have success, we would expect 35,000+ meters next year across all our projects. So it's taken a while to get the company to this position. It's a lot of behind the scenes grunt work that I think sometimes the market doesn't appreciate at first. But now that we've just de-risked the projects, we have the capital and the shareholder base behind us to really execute on this plan.
Well, you said that it feels like you're actually at the beginning of what could be more. Can you kind of distill further what the upside potential is for investors before we go?
Sure. So what we're dealing with specifically at Khaleesi, if this ends up being a 500 billion ton type deposit, which is, I'm not trying to arm wave this, but if you do simple geometry on these anomalies that we've seen, also we're surrounded by operating mines that are north of 1 billion tons of ore. If we get that, these are multi-billion-dollar assets, and where our market cap is 100 million Canadian today.
Junior among the giants.
So there you are. So that becomes your upside. You go from 100 million market cap to you can be in the billions, and we have that same opportunity of what we're doing in Jamaica as well. So I think the way we've set up the company with multiple shots on multiple projects to chase those big projects for very billion-dollar type rewards. That's what we're focused on. That's what we're trying to deliver.
Well, as always, a pleasure. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we'll see you back in Toronto.
All right. Thank you.
C3 Metals can be found on c3metals.com, and of course, as I always say, on CEO.CA. Thanks for watching.